Tonight, on First at 9 this Sunday, the 19th of October 2025. Fatal showers. Flash floods in Anuradhapura claim one life. Severe lightning and thunder showers to continue for the next 24 hours. Hide and seek. Homeowner who sheltered Ishara Sewandi remanded. Gampha Baba leads police to a stock of live ammunition. Sri Lanka to seek Interpol red notices for the arrest of athletes who fled the 2022 Commonwealth Games village. Raising history. Sri Lanka's Yevan David rewrites history, winning the Rookie Championship title and overall second place in the 2025 Euroformula Open Championship. Louvre lockdown. The Louvre closes its doors as French authorities investigate a robbery at the museum.
Kalin baby so rupial 90කට. Kalin baby podi හැමෝටමයි.
Homelands Expo 2025 Property Investment Forum and Exhibition. Join us on 11th October, Hilton, Colombo, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 0710 111 444.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Welcome to the Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Drisingha joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Brought to you by the only Sri Lankan media network to rise to the pinnacle across all media platforms, recognized as the best by every survey and beloved by the people. Now, your top story tonight, the Department of Meteorology forecasts that persisting heavy downpours affecting several parts of the island are expected to continue into tomorrow. The department also issued amber advisories for 15 districts due to the risk of strong lightning accompanied by rain and urges the public to remain highly vigilant and take necessary safety precautions. Meanwhile, the Disaster Management Centre notes that over 500 persons in Kurunegala and Anuradhapura districts remain affected owing to the adverse weather patterns.
The gradual onset of the northeast monsoon and a developing atmospheric disturbance over the Bay of Bengal led to the widespread rainfall across many parts of the island. The Paduka area recorded the highest rainfall of 142.4 millimeters within the past 24 hours. Amid the downpour, Ravana Falls turned into a thundering cascade with water plunging forcefully following heavy rains in its catchment areas. In light of the situation, the District Disaster Management Unit urged the public to refrain from bathing in or approaching Ravana Falls to take photographs due to safety concerns. Elsewhere in the Hanguranketa area, several seasonal waterfalls have activated with the heavy downpours. Among them, the Malapattava waterfall flowing from the Mathurata region is now in full spate. Owing to the prevailing weather conditions, 6 spill gates of the Rajangane Reservoir in Anuradhapura remained open after being released yesterday, sending water downstream into the Kalawaya. Meanwhile, 2 spill gates of the Angamo Reservoir have also been opened. 2 spill gates of the Kala River have also been opened by 2 feet each, releasing water into the Kalawaya. The adverse weather patterns resulted in heavy deluge along the Aukana Kakirava Road near the Aukana Rajama Vihara, disrupting vehicular movement in the area. Meanwhile, the Eluwankulama entrance to the Wilpattu National Park has been submerged under nearly 6 feet of water, following the overflow caused by the rising water level of the Kalawaya. Subsequently, around 30 local and foreign tourists visiting the park were stranded inside and unable to return. Wildlife officials promptly intervened, assisting in the safe evacuation of tourists and their safari vehicles from Wilpattu. With rainfall persisting, the National Building Research Organisation issued Warning Level 1 Watch Yellow landslide warnings for 7 districts. The Department of Meteorology, meanwhile, forecast heavy showers exceeding 100 millimeters tomorrow in the western Sabaragamuwa, central, Uva, northwestern, southern and the northern provinces, with a heightened risk of thunder and lightning. Issuing an amber advisory for heavy rains, the general public in the areas were advised to exercise extreme caution against lightning strikes.
විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ වර්ෂාව පවතින්නේ පැය එකහමාරක් දෙකක්.
The rains are expected to last between 1.5 or 2 hours. However, intense rainfall is likely to occur during this short period. Along with the heavy rain, there is possibility of strong winds and severe lightning activity. We urge the general public to take necessary precautions to minimize the risk of damage or injury caused by lightning. People are advised to avoid open spaces such as plain, refrain from standing under trees, and avoid travelling in open vehicles such as bicycles, tractors, and boats during thunder showers.
The Natural Hazards Early Warning Centre issued an amber advisory for severe lightning for 15 districts tomorrow, urging the public to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning. Taking the prevailing adverse weather into account, the Disaster Management Centre noted that 509 persons belonging to 122 families in the Kurunegala and Anuradhapura districts remain affected.
In the Galle district, we had been experiencing more the flash flood situations, and also the Kurunegala district, as per the heavy strong wind blown over the particular area, around 512 people been affected in 123 families, and one safe evacuation centre been located in Kurunegala district. In 10 people been temporarily accommodated. So all the relief missions have been carried out by the authorities and disaster management units. The Triforces police with the equipment and all stand by with the upcoming any kind of disaster situation.
යාඩියා T5 ස්කූටරයක් සමග අඟල් 32 LED TV එකක් නොමිලේ.
The World Education Fair 2025's entrance free. Register now.
Now in other news, the female owner of the Valleypanna residence where Ishara Sevwande had concealed herself following the murder of Ganemulla Sanjeeva was remanded until October 24th. Meanwhile, the police constable who withheld information on Sevwande's whereabouts from the authorities has been interdicted with immediate effect. In a related development, police discovered a stock of live ammunition following information revealed by Gampaha Baba, who was arrested alongside Ishara Sevwande in Nepal.
The Ministry of Defence yesterday authorised police to detain and interrogate Ishara Sevwande for 90 days in connection with the murder of Ganemulla Sanjeeva. The Colombo Crime Division yesterday took Sevwande to Kilinochchi to investigate the locations which she had used as hideouts following the murder. Meanwhile, the authorities have uncovered further information on Takshi, a female suspect arrested along with Ishara Sevwande in Nepal. Given Takshi's striking resemblance to Ishara Sevwande, she was widely known under her alias Duplicate Ishara. Police have uncovered that Jaffna Suresh had discovered Takshi during his search for a lookalike for Sevwande upon the orders of Kehelbadara Padme. Subsequently, Takshi, who was reportedly illiterate in Sinhala, had been taken to Nepal on the promise of overseas employment. Meanwhile, the Colombo Crime Division presented the 52-year-old female homeowner in Valleypanna to the Colombo Judicial Medical Officer this morning. The homeowner is being detained under suspicion of sheltering Ishara Sevwande at the Valleypanna residence in the immediate aftermath of Ganemulla Sanjeeva's murder. The suspect was subsequently produced before the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court, where she was ordered to be remanded until October 24th. The 52-year-old female suspect was an independent candidate in the last local government elections. Police claim her son is Matugama Sudha, a suspect implicated in several crimes and is currently in hiding in Dubai. He is said to have covered Ishara Sevwande's expenses while she was in hiding in Sri Lanka before fleeing to Nepal. Meanwhile, the police constable who was arrested for withholding information pertinent to the investigation and harbouring fugitive Sevwande has been interdicted with immediate effect. According to law enforcement authorities, the police constable is the nephew of the Valleypanna homeowner. Meanwhile, underworld figure Gampaha Baba, who was apprehended in Nepal alongside Ishara Sevwande, was taken to the Paliagoda Crime Division from the Kalaniya Crime Division. Following information revealed during subsequent interrogation, 50 rounds of live T-56 ammunition said to have been provided to the suspect by Kehelbadara Padme was discovered from a drain beside the Keravalapiti entrance of the Southern Expressway. The ammunition is slated to be presented to the Valisara Magistrates Court.
Now, in certain separate but related updates, a Belarusian has been apprehended in Galle along with a plantation of Kush cannabis. Meanwhile, 31 suspects were apprehended in Nouralia while in possession of cannabis and cocaine.
A Belarusian was apprehended in Akhmi Managol today after police raided the Kush cannabis plantation he had been growing in his rental residence. It is reported that the suspect had been growing the cannabis with the intention of selling it to foreign tourists. Meanwhile, a suspect was apprehended in Kahava Ambalangoda while in the possession of 6 kilograms and 359 grams of hashish with a street value of over 10 million rupees. The suspect is a 39-year-old resident of the Kahava area. In a similar development, Nuwara police yesterday apprehended 31 suspects in the vicinity of Lake Gregory who were in the possession of a variety of narcotic substances including marijuana, hashish, kush and cocaine. The suspects had come to Nuwara from several areas including Dematagoda, Gampaha and Colombo.
Now, the Information and Communication Technology Agency has issued an update on the recent cyber attack affecting Lanka government cloud services. While some disruptions continue, officials confirm there has been no data loss or security breach and data integrity remains intact. Recovery efforts are a top priority with ICTA engineers and the service provider working round the clock to resolve the issue. In the meantime, manual alternatives such as obtaining certificates from divisional secretariats are available to reduce public inconvenience. Stakeholders including police department are receiving real-time updates. ICTA also notes that the next phase of the LGC modernization, which began in October 2025, is progressing well. It aims to enhance cloud capacity and resilience using advanced technologies. A phased reactivation of services is planned, with a full restoration expected soon. Sri Lanka will seek Interpol red notices for the arrest of athletes who fled the 2022 Commonwealth Games village in Birmingham and failed to return home. The Sri Lankan contingent at the Birmingham Games consisted of 116 athletes, 28 trainers, 11 medical officers and 23 other personnel representing Sri Lanka. Of these 9 athletes, the manager of the judo team, a sports photographer, disappeared after the competition ended. The Colombo Chief Magistrates Court on Friday imposed travel bans on 10 athletes believed to be residing illegally in the United Kingdom. Police Inspector Supun Vidanage, who is leading the investigation, confirmed that local arrest warrants are the first step before approaching Interpol for the international notices. According to the Sports Ministry's Offences Prevention Unit, the absconding athletes have caused a financial loss of around 50 million rupees to the government by failing to return home. Now, Sri Lanka has joined the global effort to promote breast cancer awareness this October. In line with the initiative, the Pink Wednesday program was launched to educate school children on the importance of early detection and awareness at Muses College, Colombo.
Sri Lanka joined the world in observing Breast Cancer Awareness Month held annually in October. As part of this effort, the inaugural Pink Wednesday program was recently held at the main hall of Muses College, Colombo to raise awareness about breast cancer among school children. The event was organized with the participation of staff and students of Muses College, Indira Cancer Trust and the Roshan Mahanama Trust.
Muses College is likely the first school in Sri Lanka and possibly in the world to modify part of the traditional uniform at least for one day each month on the first Wednesday in order to formally observe a monthly breast cancer awareness initiative and promote awareness about breast cancer. This marks a proud and a pioneering step that I believe will inspire many other schools to follow.
You all are the young students of tomorrow. You will be leading this country. These empathy, respect, integrity, discipline, unity, empowerment and accountability. Those are core things that will definitely be a strength to you all, and these are the core values that we follow at our.
Welcome back. Now, the National Deepavali Festival was celebrated this morning at the Sri Manika Pillayar Hindu Temple in Hatton, ahead of the Hindu festival of Deepavali, which falls tomorrow. The event was attended by Minister of Buddhism, Religious and Cultural Affairs, Dr. Hiniduma Sunil Senevi, along with several dignitaries and community members. The chief priest of the temple, Kurukal Shiva Sri Sadguna Sanmadura, conducted a special blessing puja for the guests. The festival was organized by the Board of Trustees of the Hindu temple. Following the puja, the minister and his entourage were escorted in a traditional Hindu procession to a nearby function hall where Hindu cultural performances by school children took place. As part of the celebrations, a commemorative postage stamp was issued to mark the occasion. Leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa, claims that the country must not neglect the importance of having a ministry of Buddha Sasana. Speaking at the religious event in Tantirimale recently, Premadasa emphasizes that it is important to establish a state ministry for each religion.
The annual Katina ceremony of Tantirimale Rajamaha Vihara was held with opposition leader Sajith Premadasa gracing the event. These are times when Buddhism is being challenged and confronted by many forces. The late former President Ranasinghe Premadasa bolstered the guardrails around Buddhism by setting up the Buddha Sasana Ministry and establishing the Buddha Sasana Ministry. We should not undermine the importance of the Buddha Sasana Ministry. While we continue to have a Buddha Sasana Cabinet Ministry, we must also ensure that other faiths receive due recognition and respect. Therefore, it is imperative that we set up state ministries to recognize and govern Hindu, Islamic, Christian and Catholic affairs. We must not limit interfaith and interracial reconciliation to discourse. While Buddhism is accorded with the foremost place, we must foster unity, cooperation and reconciliation between all ethnic groups and diverse faiths.
A leader of the Sarvajana Balaya and Member of Parliament Dilith Jayavira claims that the nationalist political camp was driven to utter obliteration by selfishness and nepotism. He made these remarks at his hometown in Galle today.
The Sarvajana Sabha of Dorape Division in Habaraduwa, Galle was set up today under the patronage of Sarvajana Balaya leader, parliamentarian Dilith Jayavira. 2 years ago, no one could fathom a JVP government being in power. However, they did assume power. In actuality, the economic crisis paved their way into power. Despite what happened, their true intention was to creep their way into the opposition in 2025 and claim power by 2029 or 2030. After claiming power in 2025, they are bewildered on what to do next. At the moment, this government borrows 5.5 billion rupees per day. Within the last 6 months alone, they borrowed 1 trillion rupees. Therefore, now the public yearns for a leader who can inspire an economic revival. Here at Dilith Jayavira's hometown in Galle, I will share a prophecy. A leader from your town will assume power within the next few years. There is no doubt about it. The political record of everyone on this stage, including myself, has remained sterling for the longest time. Here at my hometown, I confidently assert that I have never received political favors from those in power. Selfishness and nepotism powered the trajectory of this political camp into utter devastation. This camp's opportunity to proudly engage in politics was sabotaged by a few within the same camp. We aired our criticism against rampant corruption back then. Yet we vowed to protect this camp since this is the only political camp that will protect our motherland.
With that, here's a look at some thoughts shared in the political arena today regarding the upcoming provincial council elections.
We urge
the government to hold provincial council elections immediately. The NPP manifesto clearly stated that the elections would be called within the first year after assuming office. During the local government elections, the government lost nearly 2.3 million votes. That number is likely to decline even further in the provincial council polls. The provincial council elections will definitely be held next year. We are well aware that this election will bring nothing but decisive defeat for the opposition. Although the government claimed to be fearless, their political lies have been exposed. Given their incompetence before the international community, weak economic program and deception of citizens, the first salvos in the program to oust the government will be fired at the provincial council elections. There are 4 years left in both the presidential and parliamentary terms. However, it is now clear that members of the opposition who have been spreading misinformation will struggle to even field candidates in the future elections. The Samagijana Balawegya and the United National Party will work in collaboration for the upcoming provincial council elections. Our goal is to form a government that is capable of addressing public concerns rather than one that misleads them with empty promises. Now, a new report by the United Nations Development Programme and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative reveals that nearly 80% of the world's poor, about 887 million people, live in regions exposed to climate hazards. The report, titled Overlapping Hardships, Poverty and Climate Hazards, points out that among them 651 million face 2 or more hazards, while 309 million endured 3 or 4 simultaneously, compounding their vulnerability. The most common threats are recognized as heat and air pollution, followed by flooding and drought. South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa are the hardest hit regions, with South Asia's 99% of poor people exposed to at least one hazard. The report warns that countries with the highest poverty levels will likely experience the steepest temperature increases by century's end, urging governments to integrate climate-resilient poverty reduction, local adaptation and global cooperation to prevent widening inequalities. On your business news, Sri Lanka reaffirms its commitment to transparent trade policies, structural reforms and multilateral cooperation during its 5th Trade Policy Review at the World Trade Organization held in Geneva. Minister of Trade, Commerce, Food Security and Cooperative Development Vasantha Samarasinghe announces that Sri Lanka has adopted a national tariff policy focused on simplicity, transparency and predictability, and outlines the country's goal of achieving 95% compliance with the WTO's Trade Facilitation Agreement by 2027.
The review concluded with broad participation from World Trade Organization members who acknowledged Sri Lanka's reform efforts and aspirations. Minister Samarasinghe expressed appreciation for the constructive engagement and support received throughout the review process. In his remarks, the minister highlighted key elements of Sri Lanka's reform agenda, including tariff simplification, investment transparency, export diversification and the digital transformation of Sri Lanka customs. He called for continued support from international partners to continue critical trade infrastructure projects, highlighting that Sri Lanka has adopted a national tariff policy focused on simplicity, transparency and predictability. He also outlined the country's goal of achieving 95% compliance with the WTO's Trade Facilitation Agreement by 2027. The Trade Policy Review Committee also recognized Sri Lanka's sincere approach and the review's role in supporting the country's recovery and reform journey. Minister Samarasinghe concluded by reiterating Sri Lanka's strong belief in multilateralism, stating that these reforms are not just Sri Lanka's responsibility, they are Sri Lanka's path to a better future.
Welcome back. Now in your world news, the Louvre Museum in Paris said it would remain closed today for exceptional reasons, as 2 French ministers said an investigation was underway into a robbery. Taking to social media, French Minister of Culture Rachida Dati stated a robbery took place early today at the opening of the Louvre Museum and investigations are underway. Meanwhile, French Interior Minister claims that several items were taken from the museum, adding that their value would be inestimable. The French Interior Minister further claims that at least 3 suspects appeared to have been involved, adding that some or all appeared to be entered the Apollon Gallery and to have taken jewels. Following the robbery, the world-renowned museum announced that it will remain closed today. Now, Qatar's foreign ministry claims Pakistan and Afghanistan have agreed to a new immediate ceasefire during talks in Doha following more than a week of deadly clashes, which continued despite an earlier truce. Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs early today said that the 2 South Asian nations agreed to ceasefire and the establishment of mechanisms to consolidate lasting peace and stability between the 2 countries. Doha said the 2 countries also agreed to hold follow-up meetings in the coming days to ensure the sustainability of the ceasefire and verify its implementation in a reliable and sustainable manner. Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister welcomed the deal, calling it a first step in the right direction. The recent attack was yesterday's airstrike conducted by Pakistan in Afghanistan, which claimed the lives of 3 Afghan cricketers. The attacks prompted the National Cricket Board to boycott an upcoming series in Pakistan. Now, halfway across the world, huge crowds have taken part in No Kings protests against President Donald Trump's policies in cities across the US, including New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Miami, and Los Angeles. Protest organizers said there were nearly 7 million people and more than 2,700 events in all 50 states, which police said were mostly peaceful, with many large cities reporting no protest-related incidents or arrests. Ahead of the demonstration, Trump's allies accused the protesters of being linked with the far-left Antifa movement and condemned what they called the Hate America rally. This is the third mass demonstration against the Trump government since his return to the White House. The previous No Kings protest in June this year was carried out at 2,100 locations. Now in some triumphant sports news for Sri Lanka, Yavan David made motorsports history by winning the Rookie Championship and finishing second overall in the 2025 Euro Formula Open, becoming the first Sri Lankan to achieve both. In the season finale at Monza, David finished second in race 2 and won race 3, ending the season with 6 victories, matching overall champion Taimik Kuharchik. David is now set to become the first ever Sri Lankan to race in the FIA Formula 3 Championship, signing with AIX Racing for 2026. He previously debuted at F3 level in late 2024, scoring 2 wins and a podium. In 2024, he also raced in Eurocup 3, Spanish F4 and UAE F4, his first full season in single-seaters after karting success, including a silver medal at the FIA Motorsport Games. AIX has also signed Emo Fittipaldi for Formula 2, with David headlining their FIA F3 entry. That's all for tonight from First at 9. For the latest developments round the clock, stay in touch with Ada Derana, the Sri Lankan news brand of international excellence. Thank you for joining. Have a great night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit adaderana.lk.